that it really has come through the back door on us. The time, I guess, from assistant to the head coach spot, if anything has changed, the sense of urgency and time has changed when you're doing business. So it's a very exciting time for us. Last year was a very unique year. And my wildest dreams, like I always said, I never thought that we'll make that type of leap. But I think it just showed testament to the young guys that were in the program last year, and they desire to leave here with a legacy behind them of helping bring this program back. And when I say helping bring this program back, that leads me right into the segment of that's where we are today. We're not there yet. As you know, taking over the job, doing some tough times, and I always figured in building this program under scrutiny that I came in under, that it would take 3 to 4 years. First year, we really jumped out there. It was very exciting. The second year, we're going to try to do our best to duplicate that same type of energy. I don't know the number of wins and losses, what that would translate in, because as I look at it, and I just told our staff, this is just like a first again. You had a lot of guys that, at least when I came to this program, they've been to Jackson, they've been to Grambling, they've been to Prairie View a couple of years. They experienced what it was like to get on that bus and go on the road, and understood that SWAC basketball is pretty good. Now I got a locker room full of guys that never been there. Even though I think our recruiting class was pretty decent, but when you get on the floor, it's still learning curves. Some people don't get it as fast, some people do. So with that being said, there's a lot of uncertainty going into this season. And I am mystified and stay awake at night thinking about the guys that haven't been through this rigorous schedule of traveling on a Division I level before. Doggett, everybody think of Doggett losing our leading scorer and our most active guy. But you got to realize that you lost another senior in Coleman as well, the graduation. Mike Celestine, our third leading scorer, basically is not back, and a host of those other guys aren't back. So we basically brought back, which is very positive for us, Jameer Grace, who is our only player that's been in this program for 4 years. And so the leadership from him is going to be very, very important to us, because he's the only one that's been here for 4 years. Derek Beltran, the second leading scorer, comes back for his senior year, and that's pretty positive, but he only been through this transition phase 1 year. So can he come back and put together that type of year when people are ready for him, and when defenses and designed to stop him? So it's a lot of question marks to be said. And but I do think that we have guys that have a lot of character and that will be ready to compete every night. And that's all I ask, to give our basketball team a chance to win every night. But there's a lot of inexperience in that locker room, and that's the thing that I'm afraid of the most.
Go ahead and open it up for questions.
Is it something you won't know? I mean, I guess you won't know how they're going to handle the schedule and how they're going to handle this transition until you get part of the way into the season, or is there something you'll be able to learn about this team during practices?
Well, unlike last year's team, I was new to them, but they wasn't new to me. By being at Southeastern and being close by, I was able to see those guys by playing them, read about those guys, see them on different tapes. And so I knew some things in game fashion what they could do. And coming trying to put them in a position that I thought that they fit best in our system was a little easier, because I knew Grace, I knew Doggett. They didn't know me. But the thing is, this group of guys, I don't know just how at a Division I level and gameplay, just how they're going to fit in yet, or just how I see them. So I think it's going to take a series of practices to know who catching on, because all the time it's not the most talented guy, it's the most consistent guy. So I got to see within a week or so very fastly who can handle what we're doing, and the guys that I think are very talented, can they remain very talented in my eyes, and plug them in from there. So we still got a little evaluation process, and then we'll go from there.
Who are some of the guys you're going to be watching, I guess, most closely as practices start to see how they respond?
I'll give you a perfect example. We've been fortunate enough to brought in Brandon Moore. I recruited Brandon Moore when I was at Southeastern. I've been knowing him for a while. Brandon finished his undergrad under Isaiah Thomas, and he went to Arkansas at a high school, and so he well traveled, but he graduated, so he's given his last year's 5th year play. Well, Brandon is a good talent, but it haven't really multiplied to that as it relates to stats and games. Can we bring him in, somebody that we're dependent on for 1 year, and can he turn his career into some positive numbers? And actually, as a player that probably was just in a rotation, that 5th big guy, can he be that 1st or 2nd big guy for us that we can count on to get so many rebounds every night, so many points every night, so many blocks, to be consistent? He's never been asked to do that in his whole career. He has a lot of potential, but it haven't mapped out into positive numbers like that. So that's what I mean by a lot of uncertainty. Even though I think he's good for our basketball program, and I know he can be great if he can do the things that I think that his talent, that he has the ability to do. So those are some of the things that I tell you that I wrestle with every night about being 6'9", coming to our program, 5 years experience, but haven't really played and haven't really tapped his potential. Can we get that out of him? And if we can, that's a positive step in a positive direction for us.
With this much roster turnover, how will they look different on the court, playing style-wise, or will it be pretty similar to last year?
Well, I forced those guys to kind of play the way that we're going to play. I made that our blueprint. That is the way we're going to play. And hopefully we've done a pretty good job of recruiting some size and length that I think we had to add to our basketball program. And so hopefully, we won't be out man and out rebound as much as we did last year. I think almost finishing dead last in the conference. And so hopefully the blueprint is there, how we're going to play from last year, but hopefully we're longer and more active and make it a better and more encouraging brand of basketball.
Not that last year they didn't seem to be affected by the penalties and all that by the NCAA, but this year you guys are good to go for everything. Does it kind of bring a little added spice to it in terms of these guys really know that if they do perform well, they can get these championships?
Of course, I think that's a little extra motivation. It was pretty tough last year keeping guys motivated because they know at their last basketball game it wasn't any postseason play. This year, the guys understand that they have opportunity to go to the conference tournament, and if they perform well, the conference tournament, the NCAA tournament is in their reach. It affected us a little bit because of being able now to get the scholarship limitation off of us, so we wasn't able to recruit, be able to offer what we needed to offer as it relates to full scholarship to kind of help our recruiting. We still had to kind of look at some academic guys and do a few things. But that'll be better going into this year's recruiting class. So that's what I mean about we still have some struggles and challenges. We can go to the tournament. We still kind of watched on that probation umbrella for 3 years, making sure we don't do anything else wrong and the APR can't fall. So there's still some challenges, and I think we're headed in the right direction though.
Any other questions for Coach? Coaches, could you talk about the schedule and some of the matchups you got lined up for this season and how that can help you with this team and gauging what guys can do and how they can help you?
I think we have a pretty challenging schedule, but it's one that I definitely welcome because I like to take these guys to some hostile environments early to prepare us for later. And I think with the uncertainty of knowing what guys can do and kind of learn them in practice and game situations, I really think that we're preparing ourselves for later more than earlier. And so these, going to play Iowa State, coming off a tournament run, I think it's going to be a great environment to go into. Then you got Nebraska there. And, our program, I like to say is one that can go in and challenge lower teams at the higher level. I don't know if we're there yet. And the higher conferences, the teams that are not in the top 5 or so. I don't know if we're there yet, but obviously, someone like Nebraska will be that type of answer that question for us. We might go in there and get beat by 30, so that means we still have a lot of growing to do. But if we can get there and represent ourselves well, then I think we'll be headed into the right direction. Once again, we don't have a lot of home games, simply because you do the numbers and basketball at our level, we have to do certain things for our athletic department. But we do have, 3 home games, I think, going into preseason play getting us ready for conference. And so going on the road, we should turn into some road warriors. And actually it's pretty good because we can bond a little bit and we can grow up and hopefully get us ready for that January schedule.
Can you talk about one of your potential road games possibly being like the football team and turning into a home game? That Tulane matchup the Saturday night of the Bayou Classic. You'll have a lot of alumni and Southern folks in the area who may not know that you'll be in town taking on the Tulane Green Wave right down the road.
Well, obviously that's going to be a pretty big night, and I think Jaguar Nation can show just how strong they are. It's not just about football, but also about the other sports here. After the Bayou Classic, a few hours later we'll be tipping it off with Tulane on their campus at 7:30. So it definitely gives fans a chance to, after the football, to go grab a bite to eat and come cheer us on. In return, Tulane will be coming to us the following year. So I am trying to build our schedule and create our schedule into a much more powerful schedule where we can get some pretty good teams coming back and some state teams making rivals out of them at home where people can come and enjoy from a state perspective. Soon we will have Louisiana Tech coming in, and I think the following year as well, Louisiana Monroe will be coming in. So as you can see, I'm trying to build this program not just SWAC-like, but to be able to compete at a national level.
All right. Thanks, Coach.